Today, one of my subscribers asked me to publish some games by Smyslov. Smyslov is an important world champion. He was totally in love with endgames, if I understood well. And in reality, I think all world champions at a certain point they must love endgames because uh, you don't really win another world champion in 10 moves. So the advantage that you gain maybe from the opening and the middle game, you must be able to convert it into the end game. With that said, I want to show you that I have two books about Smyslov, and of course tonight I will look for more. Um, why I have two books? Because I want to read you part from this book from Andrew Soltis because it's really great for historical research. And then I want to show you a game that is mentioned here that is in the other book. And this is, to me, is amazing because we are going to witness something which happened in 1912. Okay. Of course, you say, but in 1912, Smyslov wasn't born. Yes, you are totally right. But it doesn't matter because the guy we are speaking with or about is the father, the Smyslov father. In any case, fourth moves. Good geography is good luck. Vasily Vasilyevich Smyslov, good fortune, began before he was born, when his father's side of the family left the city of Astrakhan, near the Caspian Sea. Had Smyslov or David Bronstein, Yuri Averbakh or Mark Taimanov grown up where their ancestors lived, hundreds of miles from a major chess center, they might have become obscure provincial masters. And this is true probably also for Fischer. At a certain point, Fischer mom moved, I don't know if it was Arizona or Colorado, something in the middle of nowhere. If Fischer wasn't returned to New York, he wouldn't go to live to New York. He would have never been the player he was. Okay, so let's hear what he says. But Smyslov was born in Moscow on March 24, 1921. This was 3 years after the new Soviet government moved the national capital from St. Petersburg. Smyslov, who was called Vazia, or later Vaz, and just VV by friends, grew up in a small apartment in the southwest outskirts of Moscow, near where the massive Luzinsky Stadium stands today. He became a tall, red-headed boy who played Lapta, the ancient Russian ball game that the Soviets once claimed was the forerunner of baseball. He also fished in the nearby Moscow River, mostly for chub and roach fish, but occasionally for the bigger pike and perch. By the way, here there are notes because I see a 1, which means that maybe at the end there is the note from where Soltis got all this information. Yeah, here we have the notes. So there are notes and quotes. So he really did a good job. But honestly, this is the thing. When they quote from, let's say, something that was printed, I don't know, in 1971 or in an obscure Russian site, do I really care? I honestly don't, right? Why I don't? Because I understand that he got it from somewhere and he didn't made it up. But honestly, also if he made it up, who is going to check? I don't know. I mean, also the AI made up the stuff. So okay, fate gave Smyslov accent on the second syllable, advantages rare among Soviet players in the decades following the 1917 revolution. He enjoyed an upper middle class childhood, nurtured by a chess-loving and attentive father, Vasily Osipovich Smyslov. Was 40 when his son was born. He worked as an engineer for Goznak, a government printing firm that had been making currency since the reign of Tsar Alexander IV in the early 1800s. V.O. Smyslov was also a talented chess player of about 4th category strength, perhaps 2000 rating strength. He was proud of having defeated Alexander Alekhine in a simultaneous exhibition in 1912, when he was a student at the St. Petersburg Technological Institute. Okay, and now I stop because in this book we have that game. The problem is that from this book I didn't understand it was a Simon. Let's see what it says. So Vasily Osipovich Smyslov played in a few local tournaments in St. Petersburg and Moscow, and even beat future world champion Alexander Alekhine in a tournament game in 1912. So you see, here in Soltis it says the Simon, but in 1912, I don't know, maybe Alekhine wasn't the champion we know today, so why would he give a Simon, no? Um, so it was published in an article in 2002. Quoting the result of this tournament that he discovered in an old newspaper. Alekhine scored out 8 of 9. So as we can see, Soltis is wrong. This wasn't a Simon, it was a real tournament game. So let's see the tournament game. So Alekhine is white and the father of Smyslov is black. It was played in the St. Petersburg Chess Society tournament in 1912. Alekhine opened with c4, e5, knight c3, knight f6. So isn't it amazing? We are watching a game that is more than 110 years old. g3, bishop g5, bishop g2, knight c6, a3, a5, d3, castle, knight h3, and knight e7. Here there is a note that says, with the aim of freeing d7, d5, no? Obviously to fight for the center. Bishop g5, knight g6. Well, it seems the aim of freeing is already forgotten. Bishop takes f6, queen takes f6. Now guys, obviously we are seeing Smyslov's games and old games in the Soviet Russia, so I got an old Soviet chess set. Knight e4, forking these two, queen e7, knight takes e5, queen takes e5, and knight g5 and c6. Yeah, clearly a good player, because as you can see, guys, he really want to fight for the center. It's a good idea. Knight e4, queen e7, c5, and b6. And here there is a note that says bringing the bishop into play. b4, White declines the pawn sacrifice, not wishing to lose his outpost at d6. B takes c5, b takes c5, rook b8, castle, queen e6. Very interesting. Why queen e6? What does he want to do? Because if he plays d5, the problem is e takes d6, right? So I don't know. You cannot really play d5. And then there is the problem queen g5, knight g5. Let's see what happens. Because I'm curious to understand why he played that move. d4, bishop a6, attacking this. D takes c5. This d takes c5, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense. Knight takes c5. f4. Knight g4, because now there is a hole here. And he plays f5. And here he says, sacrificing the exchange in the hope of gaining a dangerous attack on the black king. Queen h6, h3, knight e3, bishop d4, knight takes f1, rook takes f1, bishop takes e2, and rook f4. This is the point of the combination begun on the 24th move. Because he want to play probably this and attack, but rook b3. Probably the best reply, giving black strong counterplay. Okay, so king f2, rook d3, queen b2, and bishop d1, queen b1, rook d5, knight c3, rook d2, king g1, and bishop c2. Here white makes a mistake. He plays queen c1. It seems the right move is queen e1. Practically, you play this to return the exchange, and in this way release the pressure, no, of the initiative of your opponent. Okay. Tuck, and the bishop takes f5. Yeah, because he cannot take, otherwise he loses the queen. g4, bishop e6, king g3, queen g5, queen e3, h5, h4, queen g6, g5, and rook b8, rook f3, rook b3, queen c1, and bishop g4, rook e3, queen f5, and queen g1. And here, of course, white resigned because black played rook takes c3. Okay? So what does it mean? That if he takes back, check, And what do you do? Let's say you go here, oops, and this is gone, right? So he has lost the game. Now, what really, in a sense, upset me, guys, is that I just told you I wouldn't watch the notes to the chapter because I believe the history, I mean, the guy should have done his historical research, but as you can see here, clearly says he was proud of having defeated Alexander Alekhine in a simultaneous exhibition in 1912. But it's not true. When he was a student at the St. Petersburg Technological Institute. And here we have this that says that it was played at the St. Petersburg Chess Society tournament in 1912, and that there is it was published, the result, in an article in Shakhmatny Petersburg Journal, number 4, 2002, pages 34 and 39. So in that journal we have the result of the tournament, and so Alekhine won, but 8 out of 9. So as you can see, it was important to make a little research, right? I should have checked if it was a simul exhibition, and this. I will write to McFarland to let them know, because maybe they want to correct that or contact the author. This book was printed in 2021, while this book was printed, let's see, in 2020. So this could have been a source. What a pity that Soltis didn't check this book when doing his own. Maybe because obviously in 2021 he already finished to write the book. In any case, thank you very much for watching. I will obviously start to show you games by Smyslov from these books. And of course, if you find other discrepancies or mistakes, feel free to write me a note or something, so we can eventually help the publisher to improve the quality of their books. It happens, guys, we are humans, we all make mistakes. It doesn't really matter. In my opinion, it's more important to work all together to try to correct the mistakes, because that's what a human society should be about. Thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you.